Hello and how are you? Hey friends, welcome to the Shen Show. I am your host, Shenandoah Briscoe, coming to you from right here in St. Charles, Missouri. Hey, you know what? Today is Tuesday, March the 30th, 2021. And you know how you can tell that? Because it says that right there in the corner. Yup, sure enough. Hey, okay, anyway, got a happy birthday shout out going out to Jill Bastin Thompson. So without further ado, hey Jill, hey, I heard it's your birthday today. So happy birthday, I'm say. You know, there's one more year gone away. So happy birthday to you, I say. I said, hey Jill, hey, I heard it's your birthday today. Why, that's another trip around the sun that you made. I hope you're enjoying your happy birthday day, 'cause, well, it's your happy birthday day today. Alright. Whoa, I just got something in my eyeball. Hope it's not a crawl. Ow. Get in. Whoa, muscle spasm. Kicking on in. That's right. Hey, you know what? Being a quadriplegic and having a muscle spasm like that right in the middle of a word, it really strengthens that word right out, because generally speaking, it's a diaphragm muscle that kicks them muscles in and booyah, pushes the pressure on the lungs. That's why occasionally you hear me yell at you when I'm not trying to yell at you, but I just so happen to do so. Speaking of birthdays, how about anniversaries? We'll come up with a 10th anniversary coming up to Whitney Do. Whitney Do. I said, hey, I heard it's your anniversary today. Why, that's 10 long years you put away. I hope he's making you happy today. A happy anniversary day. That's 10 long years for Whitney Do, and I'm not sure what his name is. But anyway, he's a lucky guy, that's for sure. She's my dentist. She looks into my mouth almost every time not almost every time I go to the dental shop. She's there. She looks in my mouth. And she's working hard to get there, you know. Anyway, I don't bite her fingers, which is a good agreement between your dentist and you. Do not bite your dentist's fingers. They will not get the drill out. Well, okay, if you bite your dentist's fingers, you may as well watch out for a drill. That's what I'm saying. So I try to avoid the drill, never bite my dentist's fingers. That's all there is to it. Anyway, happy 10th anniversary to the two of you. Alright. Hey, Shen Show likes. How about Jamie O'Driscoll? That's right. Leony Pedraza Fernandez. Mary Jalbuna. And my Pokey pal, Amanda Sue Little. Oh, plus my Shen Show sharer, that would be Steve Clary. Alright, I'm glad to have you all around and all the time. How about a little weather forecast brought to you today by Refreshing Word Fellowship. Refreshing Word Fellowship is a new and upcoming local church here in St. Charles, Missouri, located at 2052 and 2054 Campus Drive, St. Charles, Missouri, 63301. It's across from the back part of St. Andrew's Plaza. Alright, come on by. We're not new and upcoming, we're upcoming. We got an upstart in a new building, so let's get that building full. We want everybody to come on over at 11 a.m. on Sunday morning. Come on over, especially this Resurrection Sunday. We certainly would appreciate your company, because, why, this is the most special of holy days, Resurrection Sunday. Be there or be square. Alright, that weather forecast, here we go. It's about 63 out there right about now, but the temperature's dropping. Dropped from about 76 earlier today, and it's dropping on down to 39. That's right, cloudy early with some clearing expected later on tonight. Low temperatures are going to be around 39 degrees Fahrenheit, with the winds north to northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. And then for tomorrow, the day I get to go and have Whitney shove her fingers down my mouth. No, actually, she's probably not going to. She's just going to stick some teeth in my mouth and say, here, try these on for size. Anyway, be partly cloudy skies, highs around 54 degrees Fahrenheit, and winds are going to be northwest at 15 to 25 miles per hour. Higher wind gusts are quite possible. I hope I can get all the way there without blowing off the road. Clear skies, lows around 29 degrees Fahrenheit overnight, with winds north to northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. And then Thursday, April the 1st, a mainly sunny sky, high with 49-degree temperatures. Winds are going to be north to northwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour. And mostly clear skies overnight with widespread frost, most likely. Low temperatures around 27 degrees Fahrenheit, and winds are going to be east to northeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Did you get that? Did you hear that? Frost, most likely. Frost. April. Anything that's budded won't be budded no more, will it, folks? And you had to pick the coldest day of the week to bring me out there, all the way across town in St. Louis, to get my teeth checked out in the coldest day possible, 49 degrees. What's up with that, Whitney? What's up with that? It's all right. You do what you got to do. That's all there is to it. And I'll do what I got to do. I'll be there. I'll be frozen. She says, I said, hey, I'll be frozen. And she says, well, don't forget to bring your blanket. And I'll have the sun lamp on for you. That's right. The heat lamp. That's right. She's very accommodating. Puts old heat lamp on me and tells me to bring my blanket. I have one that I carry in my backpack everywhere I go. Anyway, Friday, April the oh no, see that'll be Wednesday that I'll be seeing her, not on Thursday. Thursday was the cold day. All right, sorry Whitney, you didn't bring me out on the coldest day. All right. 59 degrees Fahrenheit, mostly sunny skies, highs around 59 degrees Fahrenheit on April the 2nd. Winds are going to be south to southeast at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Chances of rain, 0%. Clear skies with lows around 42 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. Winds are going to be south at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Did you hear that? My lip got stuck to my tongue, or my other lip, one of the two. Sunny skies for Saturday, April the 3rd. Highs around 21 degrees Fahrenheit with winds southwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. A few clouds from time to time with low temperatures around 47 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are going to be south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then for your final day of the 5-day forecast for the St. Charles viewing area, mostly sunny skies, highs around 76 degrees Fahrenheit, and winds are going to be south to southwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies overnight with low temperatures around 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds are going to be south at 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that, my friends, is your 5-day forecast brought to you today by Refreshing Word Fellowship, located at 2052 and 2054 Campus Drive, St. Charles, Missouri, 63301, across from the St. Andrews Plaza in the rear. All right, well, all righty then. Come on, come all, and enjoy Resurrection Sunday. That's right. A lot of people call it Easter. But, hey, resurrection is the right term as far as I'm concerned. Okie dokie. What are we going to do? I was going to sing, but I thought there was a time, there was a time when I was a sinner. And, well, I didn't know that there was a man who loved me so. Yes, sir. He loved me greatly. He loved me from above. He used to sit on his own throne, and he gave me his son because of his love. Tell Jesus I love him. Tell Jesus I need him. Tell him not to go, for I love him so. Oh, oh, oh. Tell Jesus I need him. Tell him I love him. Tell him I want to go where the Father showed up on the throne. When Jesus came down from out of the sky up above, he came down because of God's sweet love. He was down here on earth just to appease and to share the glorious word and to share the great gifts from above. He wanted to show you the gateway and how you could get there on the path that was narrow. But it wasn't that bad because it's only 10 little rules, 10 laws, and maybe 100 decrees. But hey, my friends, these are easy to please. All you have to do is listen to what he says, do what he did. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, and by golly, you'll make it there on that up in heaven for what he done on that cross right here on earth for you and for me. All right, hey, that was my makeshift song. I was going to do a song, but I didn't do it right, so I just kind of guessed and put it out tonight. Anyway, hey, I'm getting sick and tired of people baiting me online, and I have to pray for these people. I guess I have to, but it's really ridiculous things that are to divide and conquer the two political parties. They're trying to divide and conquer the political parties. We need separation between Republicans and Democrats, just like we need separation between black people and white people and Hispanic people and homosexuals and foreigners and everybody. We have to have separation between them, because if we do not have separation between all the groups, then we can't individualize our brainwashing process. Right? Because what I was going to say was this person put out that all the Republican Party ought to really, let's see, where is it? I'll just go right there and I'll look at it. It's much easier to do that than it is to wake up. Al. Spell that. Cap A. L. Choose one. Now just go down here and take a look. There it is, right there. Go to sleep. At the beginning of his thing, he says, please read and follow to all of those explicatives, chicken poopy Republicans who would take the right to vote away from people like this man. Okay, now the problem here is the Republicans would not take away the right to vote for this particular man. This particular man that he's about to discuss is a black man. Now the Republicans don't want to take the vote away from a black person. It's just that let me read to you what it's all about, okay? We're going to read it right here. Remembering the men of Easy Company. Okay, the men of Easy Company of the 506th PIR are shown during one of the most grueling tests ever performed by American troops in practice. A 120-mile forced march from Tuscaloosa, Georgia, to 5 Points, Atlanta, which they did with full battle equipment. The 4-day march beat. Now, you know what? That's really funny, because what he was depicting wasn't that at all. And he didn't get a disclaimer on his. His wasn't knocked down with a disclaimer. Wow, that's funny. That's really funny, because it was politically correct on his behalf. On the part of the Democratic Party. That's funny. First Sergeant Samuel J. That's funny. I can't believe that. Anyway, here's his posting. His posting says, First Sergeant Samuel J. Turley of Hennepin County, Minnesota, was a member of the 761st Tank Battalion. During the approach to Morville, France, on November 9th, Charlie Company's tanks got blocked by an anti-tank ditch measuring 15 feet wide and at least 4 feet deep. Now, the trench was rigged with steel spikes and landmines. The 761st was exposed to heavy artillery fire, and a number of tanks were hit. Despite the devastation, the Black Panthers did not give up the fight. These brave men left their damaged tanks and headed toward the rear, helping each other, dragging or carrying wounded tankers and infantry men to safety. Now, the first sergeant, Sam Turley, this is who we're talking about here, his tanks was one of the first hit. Realizing that the soldiers trapped in the ditch were doomed unless they escaped right away, Turley ran up and down the ditch, shouting for the soldiers to head uphill towards higher ground where they might find cover. The last anyone ever saw, catch this, these are the condemning words here, the last anyone saw of Turley, he had jumped out of the ditch to provide covering fire. Covering counter fire for the escaping soldiers. He stood tall behind the ditch, ammo belts thrown over his shoulders, machine guns held close to his hip to absorb its recoil. Truly continued to shoot until German counterfire ultimately caused his, keyword here, death from a direct hit from an 88 millimeter shell. He gave up his life, meaning he died, to save the lives of many of his brothers in arms during the horrific attack. A true hero, Samuel J. Turley, lies in rest at Plot C, Row 12, Grave 20, Lorient American Cemetery, Saint Avold, France. This is an American Battle Monuments Commission location. First Sergeant Turley was posthumously, after death, awarded a Silver Star for his heroic actions, and he was also recipient of the Purple Heart. Least we forget. Okay, he lies buried in Plot C, Row 12, Grave 20. And what was the disclaimer way up here at the top? The one that the person in question made about the Republicans? He said, please read and forward to all of those chicken-ass Republicans who would take the right to vote away from people like this man. Does this make sense to anybody? This man is dead. How can he have the right to vote? He's dead. Now, I don't understand that. And they bait you. They sit there and they throw that information out and want you to feel sorry for the black man, but it's not that you're feeling. It's not the black man that we are in question of here. A black man has all the rights in the world to vote just like the white man in the United States of America. That is no longer a question. It's no longer a... what he was talking about was the different laws in Texas and Georgia and some other states that are still on the books. Not enforced, but they're still on the books. Because, mind you, here in the city of St. Charles, if you spit on the sidewalk, you can be fined. Now, of course, they don't enforce that law. It's a disgusting habit, and it shouldn't be done, but the law is not enforced. Half the cities in the United States don't enforce jaywalking, which is against the law and has been against the law for years and years and years. But do you see police pulling over every person that crosses between lights? No, you do not. Person that crosses between lights is taking a risk on their own, and they're crazy if they do it, but that's beside the point. The law is no longer any good or any in action, and so why try to bring up and grudge down people to divide and conquer for something that's not an issue? I mean, it's not an issue, or that's not happening. It's not. They're not minimizing the number of black people that can vote. They're not putting a cap on it and saying, no, you're only allowed to vote. There's only this many black people allowed to vote. The law may be on the books, but it's not happening anymore. It's like spitting in St. Charles again, I say. It's the same thing. There are laws on books in states and countries, in states and cities and everywhere else that are not being put to use, being held in retrospect to whether they should be or not. Now, if that being said, if you wanted to fulfill out every law there is, I took a look at what it would take a motorcycle rider to cross the country in the United States of America if he had to carry everything a motorcycle is supposed to carry. He would have to have a trailer tote behind to carry all the articles that he's supposed to have to get across the country per state. If you go to each state and you read their bylaws about motorcycles and this and that and whatever, some vehicles, some other things say that a vehicle must have seatbelt. Does not stipulate which vehicle. It says if a vehicle, 2 wheels, 4 wheels, any wheels. It doesn't matter if it's a vehicle. Then it must have seatbelt. Any motorized vehicle must have seatbelt. So you got to have a seatbelt for your motorcycle. Although in that state it does not say anything about wearing a helmet. So you have a seatbelt on to hold yourself to your motorcycle, but you don't have to have a helmet to worry about your head. Okay. Truck drivers, same situation. If I were still a truck driver, I would have to have a clean white sheet every day. Actually, no. Not necessarily clean white sheet. I have to have a white sheet on my bunker if I am in a sleeper cab. And the reason it has to be a white sheet is because of the assumption that a white sheet is clean. Now, I may have slept on this sheet for a month or 2 to 3 weeks or whatever, and have sweat because I've been driving hours and hours, and I unload truck, and I unload trailers and whatnot, and still that sheet that is, and there, you know why I gotta have a white sheet? In the event that there is an automobile accident on the road in front of me, and they can come and they can grab my sheet out of my out of my truck, so that they can wrap a victim in it, or that they've got a clean white cloth. It's just a white cloth. It's not clean necessarily, but it's white, and so therefore sleepers in trucks have to have white sheets. It's a law. In some states, not in all states, but in some of the states. So, it's just there are laws on the books that are not enforced. If they wanted to pull over every truck driver that drove through their state and give them tickets, well, they could do it under probable cause that the person does not have a white sheet. Who knows? But you better be doggone sure that you know what you're doing when you pull people over, because these days somebody might shoot at the police officer, and it was the police officer's fault. I'm telling you, he should have never pulled over the person that was doing something wrong. I mean, why would you want any police officer to pull over somebody that's doing something wrong? It was his fault. He got shot because he pulled over somebody that was doing something wrong. It was a stolen vehicle, the plates didn't register right, he pulled them over and they shot him. It was his fault. It wasn't their fault. They weren't to blame. That's one thing I don't, another thing somebody kicked up on Facebook. I gotta find a different media outlet, folks. But another thing that was put on Facebook the other day, now, let me get this straight. Okay, if a policeman shoots a convicted felon, or not even a convicted felon, but if a policeman shoots somebody in the act of a crime, if a policeman shoots somebody, then it is the police officer's fault that that person died. But in the event of a crime and a criminal shoots somebody, then it is not the fault of the criminal, it is the fault of the manufacturer of the gun that they had, or it is the fault of the NRA that caused the death. It was not the criminal who pulled the trigger and shot them. Okay, go figure that. If a policeman gets shot, it was not the fault of the person that shot the police officer. It was the fault of the NRA and the gun manufacturer and the person that sold the gun. It wasn't the fault of the criminal that shot them. If the criminal got shot by the police officer, it was the police officer at fault because he shot the criminal and didn't take a different recourse that he could have taken by letting himself get shot or whatever. Either way, those are the things that we're looking at today. These things are all backwards, if you ask me. I hope I haven't talked your all's ear off about my thoughts about things, but every once in a while I just have to pour my guts on something, and this is my show. Well, it's our show, but I like every once in a while to be able to take charge of it because, well, I'm the one here. If you guys like what you hear, you just let me know. If you don't, hey, let me know too. And let's bring the kids in now. And this way I'll just kind of be quiet about that other stuff. And we'll bring the kids in and we'll read them another little story. So it's story time for the kids. Okay, how about it? How about another Hans Christian Andersen? Got it. I got it. Okay. Another Hans Christian Andersen story for the kids. Let's see. The Princess and the Pea. The Princess and the Pea. How about this one? The Brave Tin Soldier. Okay, are we ready? Here we go. Hey, Oliver. Oh, hi, hello. Hi, Oliver. Hey, Leroy. Hey, Leroy. Leroy. Hey, Leroy. Gotta yell at Leroy because he's inside the womb yet. And, well, we gotta get through belly to get to Leroy and all the other stuff what's inside there. Anyway, here we go. There were once 25 tin soldiers, that'd be 25 folks, who were all brothers, for they had been made out of the same old tin spoon. Well, they shouldered their arms, and they looked straight before them, and wore a splendid uniform, red and blue. The first thing in the world they ever heard were these words, "Tin soldiers," uttered by a little boy who clapped his hands with delight when the lid of the box in which they lay was taken off. They were given him for his birthday as a birthday present, and he stood at the table to set them up. Well, as he stood there, the soldiers were all exactly alike except for one, who had only one leg. He had been left in to the last, and then there was not enough of the melted tin to finish him off. So they made him to stand firmly on one leg, and this caused him to be very remarkable. Well, on the table on which the tin soldiers stood, it was covered with other playthings, but the most attractive to the eyes was a pretty little paper castle, and through the small window the rooms could be seen. In front of the castle a number of little trees surrounded a piece of looking-glass, now which was intended to represent a transparent lake. Swans made of wax swam on the lake and were reflected in it. All this was very pretty, but the prettiest of all was a tiny little lady who stood at the open door of the castle. She also was made of paper, and she wore a dress of clear muslin with a narrow blue ribbon over her shoulders, just like a scarf. In front of these was fixed a glittering tinsel rose, and as large as her whole face, and the little lady was a dancer, and she stretched out both arms and raised one of her legs so high that the tin soldier could not see it at all, and he thought that she, like himself, had only one leg. And that is the wife for me, he thought, but she is so grand, and lives in a castle. What I have, what... That is the wife for me, he said. Okay, well, I have only a box to live in. 25 of us altogether. That is no place for her. Still, I must try and make her acquaintance. Then he laid himself at full length on the table behind a snuff box that stood open, and then he stood upon it, so that he could peep at the little lady, the delicate lady, who continued to stand on one leg without losing her balance. When evening came, the other tin soldiers were all placed in the box, and the people of the house went to bed. Then the playthings began to have their own games together, to pay visits, to have sham fights, and to give balls. No, the tin soldiers rattled in their box, and they wanted to get out and join the amusement, but they could not open the lid. The Nutcracker played at leapfrog, and the pencil jumped about the table. And there was such a noise that the canary woke up and began to talk, and in poetry too. Only the tin soldier and the dancer remained in their places. She stood on tippy-toe with her legs stretched out as firmly as he did on his one leg. He never took his eyes from her for even a moment. And the clock struck 12, and with a bounce up sprang the lid of the snuff box, but instead of snuff, there jumped up a little black goblin, for the snuff box was a toy puzzle. "Tin soldier," said the goblin, "don't wish for what does not belong to you." But the tin soldier pretended not to hear. "Very well, wait till tomorrow then," said the goblin. When the children come in the next morning, they placed the tin soldier in the window. Now, whether it was the goblin who did it, or the draught, it is not known, but the window flew open, and out fell the tin soldier's head over heels. Well, from the third story into the street beneath it was a terrible fall, and he came head downwards, his helmet and his bayonet stuck in between the flagstones, and hello, and hello. Yes, give me just a second. Yep. And the stairs directly to look for him. Well, the servant maid, he fell directly into the flagstones, and his one leg up in the air. Now the servant maid and the little boy went downstairs directly to look for him, but he was nowhere to be seen, although once they nearly trod right upon him. If he had called out, "Here I am," it would have been all right, but he was too proud to cry out for help while he wore a uniform. Presently it began to rain, and the drops fell faster and faster, till there was a heavy shower. When it was over, two boys happened to pass by, and one of them said, "Look, there is a tin soldier. He ought to have a boat to sail in." So they made a boat out of newspaper, and they placed the tin soldier in it and sent him sailing down the gutter. Well, while the two boys ran by the side of it and clapped their hands, good gracious, what a large waves arose in the gutter! Well, and then how fast the stream was rolling on, for the rain had been very heavy. Well, the paper boat rocked up and down, and turned itself round sometimes so quickly that the tin soldier whoa, where are we at? Trembled, and yet he remained firm. His continuance did not change. He looked straight before him and shouldered his musket. Suddenly the boat shot up and under a bridge, and from which formed a part of a drain, and then it was as dark as a tin soldier's box. "Where am I? Where am I going now?" thought he. "This is the black goblin's fault, I am sure. Ah, well, if the little lady were only here with me in the boat, I should not care for any darkness." Suddenly there appeared a great water rat who lived in the drain. "Have you a passport?" asked the rat. "Give it to me at once." But the tin soldier remained silent and held his musket tighter than ever. The boat sailed on, and the rat followed it. How he did gnash his teeth and cry out to the bits of wood and straw, "Stop him! Stop him! He has not paid a toll, and has not shown me his pass." But the stream rushed on, stronger and stronger. The tin soldier could already see daylight shining where the arch ended. Then he heard a roaring sound, quite terrible enough to frighten the bravest man. At the end of the tunnel, the drain fell into a large canal over a steep place, which made it as dangerous as for him as a waterfall would be to us. He was too close to it to stop now, so the boat rushed on, and the poor tin soldier could only hold himself as stiffly as possible, without moving an eyelid, to show that he was not afraid. The boat whirled around there 3 or 4 times, and then filled with water to the very edge. Nothing could save it from sinking. He now stood up to his neck in water, while deeper and deeper sank the boat, and the paper became soft and loose with the wetness, until at last the water closed over the soldier's head. He thought of the elegant little dancer whom he should never see again, and the words of the song sounded in his ears. "Farewell, warrior, ever brave, drifting onward to thy grave." Then the paper boat fell to pieces, and the soldier sank into the water, and immediately afterwards was swallowed up by a great fish. Oh, how dark it was inside that fish! A great deal darker than in the tunnel, and narrower too. But the tin soldier continued firm, and lay all at full length, shouldering his musket. The fish swam to and fro, making wonderful movements. But at last he became quiet and still. After a while, a flash of lightning seemed to pass through him, and then the daylight approached, and a voice called out, "I declare, here is a tin soldier." The fish had been caught, taken to the market, and sold to the cook, who took him into the kitchen and cut him open with a large knife. She picked up the soldier and held him by the wrist between her fingers and thumbs, and carried him into the room. They were all anxious to see this wonderful soldier who had traveled about inside a fish, but he was not at all proud. They placed him on the table, and how many curious things do happen in the world. There he was, in the very same room from the window of which he had fallen. There were the same children, the same playthings standing on the table, and the pretty castle with the elegant little dancer at the door. She still balanced herself on one leg and held up the other, so she was as firm as himself. It touched the tin soldier so much to see her that he almost wept 10 tears, but he kept them back. He only looked at her, and they both remained silent. Presently, one of the little boys took up the tin soldier and threw him into the stove. He had no reason for doing so, therefore it must have been the fault of the black goblin who lived in the snuff-box. The flames lighted up in the tin soldier as he stood. The heat was very terrible, but whether it proceeded from the real fire or from the fire of love, he could not tell. Then he could see that the bright colors were fading from his uniform, but whether they had been washed off during his journey, or from the effects of his sorrow, no one could say. He looked at the little lady, and she looked at him. He felt himself melting away, but he still remained firm with his gun on his shoulder. Suddenly, the door of the room flew open, and the draught of air caught up the little dancer. She fluttered like a scythe right into the stove by the side of the tin soldier, and was instantly in flames, and was gone. The tin soldier melted down into a lump, and the next morning, when the maid-servant took the ashes out of the stove, she found him in the same shape of a little tin heart. But of the little dancer, nothing remained but the tinsel rose, which was burnt black as a cinder. And that is the story of the Brave Tin Soldier fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen. I hope you enjoyed it, kids. I did enjoy that one. I certainly did. Okay, well, hey, looks like it's time for our portion of the program called Our Daily Bread. And our Daily Bread portion of the program today is going to be brought to you by The Bible with Briscoe 2021. The Bible with Briscoe 2021 is a daily reading of the Bible to be completed within 1 year. Today's reading in the Bible with Briscoe 2021 will be Judges 9 through 10 and Luke 5, 17 through 39. Okay, let's see. Don't forget to tune into the Bible with Briscoe 2021 for your daily reading of the Bible. Alright, today being March the 30th, get your noose. Got your nose. Got your nose. Not get your noose. Got your nose is the devotion for today, and we're going to be reading Exodus 12 through 19. Exodus 12 through 19. On that same night I will pass through Egypt and strike down every firstborn of people and animals, and I will bring judgment on all the gods of Egypt. I am the Lord. The blood will be a sign for you on the houses where you are, and when I see that blood, I will pass over you. No destructive plague will touch you, and you will touch you when I have strike Egypt. This is a day you are to commemorate for the generations to come. You shall celebrate it as a festival to the Lord, a lasting ordinance. For 7 days you are to eat bread made without yeast. On the first day remove the yeast from your house, for whoever eats anything with yeast in it from the first day through the 7th day must be cut off from Israel. And on the first day, hold a sacred assembly, and another one on the 7th day. Do not work. Do no work at all on these days, except to prepare food for everyone to eat. That is all you may do. Celebrate the festival of unleavened bread, because it was on this very day that I brought your divisions out of Egypt. Celebrate this day as a lasting ordinance for the generations to come. In the first month you are to eat bread made without yeast, from the evening of the 14th day until the evening of the 21st day. For 7 days no yeast is to be found in your house, and anyone, whether foreigner or native born, who eats anything with yeast in it must be cut off from the community of Israel. So there you have it. That was Exodus 12 through 19. And that concludes the Daily Bread portion of the program for today, which was brought to you by the Bible with Briscoe 2021. A daily reading of the Bible to be completed within 1 year. Do not forget to tune in to the Bible with Briscoe 2021 for your daily reading of the Bible. All right, my friends. Hey, that looks like the end of the Shen Show for today. So, let me just say, well, goodbye, my friends. It's time to go. I said goodbye, my friends. It's time to go. I hate to leave you, but I really must go. So goodbye, my friends. Goodbye. This here has been Shenandoah Briscoe saying hello and how are you? Thanks for tuning in to the Shen Show, and as always, you know, God loves you, and so do I. So come back and see me tomorrow, because, well, hey, I'll be here, and I hope that you are too.